Thank you for watching, and thank you for working to protect our shared future. I'm Will Pipkin. I'm with Ashland Indivisible in Ashland, Wisconsin. I have a lot of campaign experience from over the years, and it's taught me how important voter data is in electoral politics. So I began looking at numbers here in our neighborhood, and I came away encouraged. So I'm here today because I want to give you realistic hope that a liberal or progressive candidate can win Wisconsin's 7th congressional district this year. In this presentation, I'll be sharing some facts, some analysis of voter data, and outlining a draft strategy. The other purpose of this presentation is to ask your organization to join a new coalition that will take action that's needed to win. 3 main factors will decide the winnability of this race. Other factors are in play too, but these are the 3 we can control. Think of this as a 3-legged stool. To win, all 3 have to happen. We have to find existing voters and assess how likely they are to vote and how they lean. We need to find new voters and help them get registered. And we need to get our voters out, or GOTV, get out the vote. None of this should be surprising because these are key factors in almost any election campaign. So what's happening in this election? Well, each party has advantages this year. The MAGA party's biggest advantage is the map. Here are results of the last 4 elections. In 2020, there were 2 elections for this seat, a special election in May and a regular election in November. This happened after Sean Duffy resigned from Congress and Tom Tiffany ran to fill the seat. Tiffany won by 14 points, and just a few months later, he won by 21.5 points. That 7-point swing illustrates the power of incumbency. But the main takeaway here is that the 7th has been a solidly red district for 16 years, and Republicans have steadily improved their margin of victory. Another MAGA advantage is that Tom Tiffany is popular among conservatives. In fact, he got more votes than Donald Trump in 2020 and in 2024. He beat his opponent by wider margins than Trump did, both times. He did 1.5 points better than Trump in 2020 and more than 4 points better in 2024. Tiffany is running for governor right now, so his fans will be out voting and will probably vote for the MAGA candidate in the congressional race. It's possible that there will be a Tiffany bump in the congressional race, but it's difficult to say how big the bump may be. It's safe to say it's a much smaller effect than the map. The bottom line is that we live in a district that is very red. The MAGA party has at least a 27-point advantage just based on the map. This looks grim, doesn't it? But it's not insurmountable with the right conditions. Let's look at the Dems' advantages. There's an open seat this year. No incumbent is running. Whenever that happens, there's a more even playing field for the challenging party. This is definitely an important and well-timed blue advantage. There's lots of evidence that many voters are rejecting Trump and MAGA. The 2 leading indicators of this are overperformance and generic ballot. Overperformance is when a candidate does better in a race than the last time a member of their party ran in that district. Democratic candidates are in an amazing streak of overperforming. They flipped a total of at least 30 state legislative seats nationwide during 2025 and 2026, and they've done that getting an average of 13 more points than what Harris got in 2024. In special elections for congressional seats, Dems have overperformed by an average of 17 points. The generic ballot is when a pollster asks, if the race were being held today and there was a generic Democrat and a generic Republican running, which would you be more likely to vote for? Democrats are consistently scoring well on this, at least 2% more than Republicans in recent polls, but the most recent Quinnipiac poll showed an 11% advantage for Democrats. These are not guarantees, just indicators of trends in how voters see things. Another factor which benefits Dems is that Trump and MAGA are historically unpopular. Trump's approval ratings are dropping, and his policies are also very unpopular. Many of them are policies he ran on. Another factor benefiting Dems is that they're activated and energetic. The left and center have mounted one of the largest and most widespread people's movements in the history of the country. Also, elected Dems are fighting back. Well, maybe not all the Dems are fighting as hard as we'd like or in ways we'd like them to, but elected Dems are fighting back. Another factor favoring the Dems is the quality of candidates. On the Democratic side, all 3 have great backgrounds, experience, and temperament. And on the MAGA side, 2 are not quite locals, there's inexperience, and 1 is tainted with fraud. On the Democratic side, the 3 candidates are chummy and ready to help each other, and on the MAGA side, they're fighting one another. So let's review the advantages. The open seat advantage goes to the Dems. Democrats are consistently overperforming everywhere in the country. Dems have good quality candidates in the 7th District, and their supporters are activated. On the other side, MAGA is boosted by a staggering 27-point map, and they may also benefit from a Tiffany bump. Will these Democratic advantages be enough to win? It's hard to tell without crunching some numbers. Tarun Patel of Northern Indivisible has used voter data to create a model for how to win the 7th. It's too detailed to fully describe it here, so I'm just going to cover the highlights. The first draft of the model is incomplete. Not all of the counties are in there, and it doesn't yet include analysis of the recent spring election. The model is a work in process, but Tarun has given us a running start. The data and the model are now in the hands of an independent data crew, and they're working to make it better. The reason to do this analysis is that the current favorable conditions make it worth considering an all-out effort to win this district. Like Tarun says, if we're ever going to test the limits of this district, this is the kind of year we do it. If you care about voter data, I strongly encourage you to read the document yourself. Contact me to get access to it. The model divides the counties into 3 categories, different tiers. The deepest red counties in Tier 3 are the red anchors. The 3 bluest counties are our base, the blue anchors, and the ones in between are the elastic counties. Not all the counties are actually listed here. The model says that to win, we're going to need to see a swing toward Democrats of 3 to 5% in all of the deep red MAGA counties, double that kind of swing in the elastic counties, then a more significant swing in the blue base counties. If this looks impossible to you, remember this. At least 10 counties in the district flipped to blue in the recent Supreme Court election. Let's look at how the tiers set up in the model. Here's the blue counties. In Douglas County in 2024, more than 24,000 votes were cast, and it was close. That time around, the Democrat got 338 more votes than the Republican. A 10-point to 12-point swing this year would mean we win by 2,000 votes or more. Similar swings are needed for Bayfield County and Ashland County. As for the elastic counties, there's too many to show them all on this panel, but I'm just trying to give you the idea. In 2024, Tiffany won over 5,000 votes in Lincoln County. This year, to win, we need to lower the MAGA candidates' winning margin down to something more like 3,000 to 3,500 votes. This is the kind of swing we need to see in all these counties, and since there's a lot of them, we can rack up some significant gains. We need to do the same thing with the red counties, smaller winning margins for the MAGA candidate. See how these were big margins in 2024? If we can cut them back, there's big gains to be had even in deep red areas. The model is chock full of very useful suggestions about each of these things. Narrative framing, ways to talk about the issues and the race. Organizing priorities, which kind of people do we need to talk to? And localized messaging. Stay focused on hyperlocal issues and national issues that are particularly important in each local area. There's also lots of county-by-county strategies and goals. Overall, we need to get a lot more blue votes out of the 3 base counties. That's the 3 blue base counties. In the elastic counties, we need much smaller margins than we had in 2024. We have to crush those gaps and maybe even flip some counties. In the deep red counties, we need to bleed the gaps so the margins are significantly smaller. Of course, we need to ride the pro-democratic environment. And finally, we need to build election infrastructure which captures the energy of the blue wave. Effective outreach to existing voters, registering new voters who lean blue, and GOTV are exactly the infrastructure that's needed. Data modeling is never-ending work. As we learn more, we make adjustments. As I said before, the first draft is incomplete. The missing counties are now being added. We need to analyze the April results too, especially people who did not vote. We need to evaluate several things: emerging trends, the effects of the open seat, and possible Tiffany bump. The localized messaging ideas by Tarun need fine-tuning, and that's a chore for activists in each county. Also, to improve on this modeling, we need to analyze data on unregistered voters and chart goals for how many new voters we need to snag in each local area or in each target audience. Finally, analysis by one person is good, but we need analysis by more people. We're growing our district-wide data team. If you know any capable data crunchers, please put them in touch with me. Also, you do not have to be a data nerd to be helpful. There's plenty of grunt work that needs to be done. No experience is necessary. So, how do we erase a 27-point gap? Here's my speculation. This analysis has not yet been tested, but here's my thinking. The open seat takes 3 to 4 points off the MAGA advantage. Our quality candidates compared to their flawed candidates net some additional points. There's evidence that MAGA people are getting fed up and disillusioned, and some of them are sitting on their hands. That certainly was the case in the April election, when there was some extraordinarily low turnout by MAGA voters. Democratic overperformance will continue, likely giving a Democrat a significant bump. And then new voters. If we can grow the electorate and get out an additional 2 or 3% for a blue candidate, that could be the final layer which allows us to win a close election. As you can see, these speculative numbers make the 7th competitive. We're right there at a 50-50 race. If we can take full advantage of all these factors, we can do something truly audacious. We can win this race. But making this happen will take a lot of hard work and strong election infrastructure. We have to implement tactics for identifying, assessing, and tracking existing voters. We need specific tactics for registering new voters, and we need solid mechanisms for getting out the vote. A coalition of independent groups and local party groups is forming to build election infrastructure and take action on all 3 legs of the stool. It will be a district-wide effort which is largely decentralized, with local groups working their territory. However, it will be coordinated using shared data, shared goals, shared materials, all with centralized access. The voter registration part of this effort will be highly targeted. We have to go after specific constituencies which lean blue. These are the proposed 5 groups to target. In order of size, they are women, youth, low-income people, people of color, and LGBTQIA folks. Notice the blanks after each target audience. That's where we will fill in goals for how many new organizations we need in each category, eventually broken into county-specific benchmarks. It will take different approaches to reach new voters in these groups, different tactics for reaching different target audiences. Just for example, we can best find low-income people by knocking on doors in subsidized housing and in neighborhoods with lower quality housing. But to find young people to register, it will almost be completely done through networking, young people reaching out to other young people. I'm a fan of deep canvassing, which is an approach where the person doing the outreach takes time to listen and learn and share our messages. Work has begun to build a collaborative network made up of independent groups and local Dem offices. We're asking your local group to join the coalition. You will be getting in on the ground floor. The coalition is so new that it doesn't even have a name. A handful have joined, and a steering committee is hard at work recruiting more organizations. Join us and help set up the organization, help refine the messaging, and help start building the election infrastructure. We have established a data crew, and we are recruiting more folks to help crunch numbers. We are at a critical point. Winning District 7 this year is only possible if we rapidly expand our coalition. More partners, more people, and more movement forward. This is an all-hands-on-deck moment. Time is short, and there's a lot of hard work ahead. That hard work will happen mainly in 3 parts. First, we identify and track existing voters who lean blue. This work will start in May and continue through October. Second, we locate new voters who lean blue, and we help them get registered. This also starts in May and will run at least through early October. During October and especially early November, we will get out our voters in GOTV. If this race is going to be close, it's new voters that will give us the winning edge. I strongly believe that winning the 7th won't happen without new voters. They'll supply the last couple of percentage points we need. None of this will happen without a huge effort by lots of people. We are building the coalition now. Please join us. If you have any questions, please contact me. Or if you want to help, please let me know. And if you or anyone you know wants to help with our voter data, geek or not, please give them my deets. Thank you for your time. Let's team up and get out there. If we work together, we can shock everyone by winning the 7th.